off.
Okay. So I had the right screw. I just had like a video vertigo, whatever.
Actors call it the chokes.
So I'm going to lubricate the friction surface of the crown wheel core of the crown wheel bridge, and I'm going to grab my bushing for the crown wheel, put him on his home, and I'm going to grab the crown wheel core, and I'm going to lubricate the bushing, and I'm going to put the crown wheel on there, and then I'm going to grab a ratchet wheel screw, which is the same as the crown wheel screw. Put that on there. Yep. I'm going to use my gray. I'm going to hold the bridge down with my tweezer, just like that. Okay. Carry them down. There we go. This is the same screw as the ratchet wheel, so you can't mess up. And I'm going to test this little wheel. Feels good. Now I'm going to gently set it down. I already put the brass hack lever in here. This little tab here touches the balance, and then the pin of the set lever comes through the bottom. So you gotta just be gentle when you put this down so that that thing doesn't fly around and then you end up fiddling. So we're gonna set it down gently, and I'm just using the steady pins and my depth perception for the threaded hole. Sorry. There we go. And I can see the lever underneath. Now I'm going to take a clean oiler and slide that lever in there, back and forth, to just make sure I have some freedom. And then I'm going to grab my familiar screws. Got one there. That's for your so that's a bridge screw. They're all the same, all 11 or 13 of them. Yeah. And before I tighten it down too much, I'm going to test that lever. Make sure it's sliding freely. Right there. Grab another screw. There's 2 screws on this crown bridge. Right there. Screw this down. We'll test the lever again. Make sure it's sliding. I just use an oiler to... There it goes. Looks good. So now I am going to tighten these down. And it's kind of like a 1/16 of a turn. Just like that. A little bit of... Just... That's it. Yeah. Quarter turn, 1/8 of a turn. Yeah, about 1/8 to 1/16. You can see it move. Not crazy. Let's check our screws for the barrel bridge. And let's check the shake on the barrel too. Look right there. Yeah. There we go. Lots of shake.
Should it? But you haven't fully tightened it up yet?
It's tight. I just feel like there's a lot of shake on that barrel. It could affect amplitude later. We'll find out. Okay, so let's move forward to the train. So now we have to put our minute pinion in. Here it is. And I'm going to use my bench block just to sit it up right there. And I'm going to lubricate it. Very slightly, right there where it rides in its jewel. It actually rides in a brass bushing. It's red synthetic high pressure oil, so can't miss. And I'm going to drop him in its hole. That's that bushing right there. It's friction fitted in the plate. Right there. Remember, this is the 3135 with the Kermit bezel. Right there. And then we're going to lubricate the top of this pinion. Right there. Just a hair, just a moist, just like, that's it. And we're going to grab our bridge for that. See where it's hiding. I believe that's it. Yep. And it is jeweled. Set it down. Comes home fairly easy. And now this is one of the two little screws that we had set aside. And then just drop him in there. Tighten that down. Grab another screw. I'm grabbing these screws at a distance so I don't drag my head over the watch, so you can see there's a huge difference between doing this at my leisure and doing it now with you. Tight, tight, tight. Breaking a screw is another venture. Just imagine having to take the watch apart again to remove that screw and figure out how to get at the hole where the broken threaded section of the screw is hiding. Oh my God. Yeah. So I'm grabbing the escape wheel and put it home right here. It tucks right underneath that bridge. It sits in its jewel right there. I'm going to grab the great wheel. It's pretty easy to get the great wheel to sit right. It's got a big arbor. It's got a big pivot. So you see it sits right there. And then your little reminder that the pinion of the center is on top of it, which means that the center goes first. And then you put the third in. So anyways, we're going to lubricate with fine oil that little surface on the pivot of the seconds. Right here. You'll see there's a little shoulder there and a shoulder there. That's it. Not too much. And I'm going to slide them in there. These right there, gently. There we go. And now we're going to put the third wheel in. Now there's a jewel that's a little harder to see. So you might see it with the camera better than me, but there's an angle. But either way, it's going to find its home. And there's a way you know you're in there because it's kind of going to jiggle. There we go. So you'll see it kind of... When you see that your teeth of your wheel mesh nicely with the pinion of the next wheel, you say, okay, we did good. So it's all there. Escape wheel's in place. So we're ready to put our train bridge on. I'm going to take a look at the train bridge. And I have my other arm and hand out of the way so we can see this clearly. But my jewels are really clean. So we're going to flip this over. And here again, I'm going to remind you and me and talk about our orientation. How do you want to set this bridge down without getting in trouble? Let's pick it up a couple times with our brass tweezer, remember. But do you want to... Remember, you want to lay it in the flat. And obviously, I'm not looking down from above. Okay? But... you have an orientation here. I'll show you one more time. There's two steady pins on the outside. This hole and that hole. So that helps you. And these are the two holes for the screws. because they're threaded here and here. So I want to set this baby down gently, but kind of using your 3D orientation to set it down. You're not going to drop it.
You kind of ease it on and let the guides ease it in itself.
It's going to, look at that, just fall right into place.
Finds exactly where it wants to
And
go.
now, I should we call that easy? Whatever. But look, here's what happened. Pivot of the great wheel fell in. Pivot of the third. Remember, 1, 2, 3. Okay. And now we're not doing any heavy pressing right now. Okay. And we're not going to be fiddling here. But I am going to put my finger gently on this bridge and make sure that my seconds is in, which it is. I'm sorry you can't see.
So I can just about see.
Okay, but if I gently turn the great wheel, my escape turned.
Mm-hmm.
So I was able to drop that on for you without any fiddling. All 4 pivots lined up.
And that happens every time, right?
No, it doesn't, but it does. It does for me. You know, if I do what I just did. Okay, if I'm tired and I'm working till 11 and I should have stopped,
that's when you get a bit
fiddly and I go, wait a minute, I need to go to bed, you know. But in this particular case, we're well rested. All our tools were out where we needed them, right? The only thing I needed to get was, what did I need? We had forgotten something. But look, before I crank that screw down, let's make sure that we're not. Can you see the escape wheel turning?
Yep.
Really? Nice.
Hang on. Yeah, I can, yeah.
Yeah, and I also get a very strong sense that we have train freedom here.
Nothing impeded when you turn one, the other.
No dirt, no old dirt, no mistakes.
No bits of a mainspring.
Right. The wheels are all depthed and concentric and in the flat.
And I'm going to assume that given that this is a Rolex movement, that the tolerances are very tight on this.
They are, yeah. If you have a bent wheel, you're in trouble. If you have a barrel cover that's not closed, you're in trouble.
But on the flip side, would you argue that a lot of the components in this are very sturdily made?
It's a very robust movement, yeah. This is my favorite movement in life. This is it.
I thought it was the 26mm ladies.
the vintage ladies.
Yeah, the easy to work with, wide and
the 2030 that I did for your wife.
Yeah, the 26.
Jeez, that watch was tough.
It's not so much tweezers as a microscope.
Yeah. Yeah.
I wonder why they don't make them smaller.
Yeah, I'll show you. We'll talk one day, and we're going to break out a tiny movement. I've done smaller. It hurts. It literally hurts. Yeah. Okay, so we're not pausing, but we have our train freedom. So I'm going to go ahead and grab the ratchet wheel.
Okay.
And go ahead and just slide him on. I lined up the square so it'll kind of fall into place. And this is a nice gold-plated. Come on. I should have put the ratchet wheel on first. There we go. And I'm going to get my ratchet wheel screw that's the same as the what? The crown wheel screw. And I see a little piece of lint on the ratchet wheel, which I'm going to get rid of. And now we're going to test our train freedom. I slipped, which is I'm actually going to get a bigger screwdriver for the screw. And we're going to wind the watch. Sounds neat.
Right. And that's showing you that you've got nice freedom of movement.
Well, we're going to test that freedom though.
Nice and smooth.
Mm-hmm. So now I'm going to take my narrow, fine tweezers and I'm going to see if you can get in there with your camera. How's that?
Coming in.
Okay, and I'm going to test the, let me clean that. And did I say I saw some lint? Right there. Little piece of lint there. Yeah. So while I'm working, I'm always looking for dirt, little It's amazing where the dirt comes from. It migrates. It's just there. So anyways, here's your escape wheel. I'm going to test it for shake. That means I'm testing the vertical tolerance.
Mm-hmm.
And I like it a lot.
Doesn't look like it's moving much at all.
No, but it is moving.
But have you got all the screws holding it down?
Here's your center, which always has a little more shake than the rest. There's the shake of the third. There's your great wheel second. I can feel the shake. I'm feeling. Even though you can see it, I'm actually feeling. And the headache is if you had a problem with shake, sometimes your jewels on the higher torque areas can get popped. If somebody drops the watch, the pivot may not break, but it can push the jewel out of depth, and then what happens is the watch isn't going to run right. It could stop altogether, or you got a huge amount of shake and then the watch runs funny, and then you have to start getting busy. So guess what we're going to do? We're going to put the pallet in and have the watch semi-running, and then we're going to have a quick pause just to reorganize the bench. So the watch will be running here real shortly. So now I'm putting the pallet in. Now I want you to be careful here, because it's my goal that you do one of these someday. See this hole here?
Mm-hmm.
That's your pivot oiling access hole.
Okay.
There's another hole here. That could be a pivot oiling lubricating access hole. And here's the jewel in the middle. So what we don't want to happen is have the pallet fall in the hole. But it happens. So I put him in his jewel. He's where he belongs. And let me grab my bridge. It's sitting right here in front of me. No, where's my bridge? Right there. Bring the pallet bridge around. I was looking blindly without my readers and without the loop. So now, here again, you have your 3D orientation. Steady pin holes, screw holes. Well, they've got steady pin holes here, but guess what? There's no steady pins, so we're just going to use our screw holes as guides. So we're just going to gently set it down. Oops. Try that again. And get a good grip somewhere. And just set it right on the screw hole. Now I have to get my high power loop to fiddle a little bit to get that pallet. See how close you can get. I'm going to make sure I clean off this oiler. And if you're with me, we're going to get that pallet jewel in its home. It's not in yet. It could be out on the underside. It could be out of. I'm not going to dare tighten that thing down.